Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market, Pensacola. It's the last one of the year. 2019 comes to an end this Wednesday. Last one of this decade. Can't believe the teens are already over. It's time for the Roaring 20s. You think it's going to be the Roaring 20s all over again? I don't know. I don't know if I'm bringing back the flapper dresses. Of course, I didn't wear a flapper dress to begin with, but yeah, this is becoming a little weird. Listen, instead of getting any weirder, why don't we talk about real estate? Let's go.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth.
On a mission.
Don't you just want the truth? All right, no more flapper dresses. Let's just talk about what's going on. I always start the show, if this is the first time you've seen the show, I always start it with this slide right here. It says if we have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, we have a neutral market. If we have greater than 7 months worth of inventory, it's considered a buyer's market. Anything less than 6 months worth of inventory is considered a seller's market. What the slide doesn't say is anything greater than 9 months is considered a hyper buyer's market. Anything less than 3 months is considered a hyper seller's market. So when you ask an agent, how's the market? Here's your answer. What price point are we talking about? Because all of these exist. Let's take a look. This is Escambia County for this week. And just like last week, everything under $300,000 is considered a hyper seller's market. I just took a new listing right here at 190. And since it backs up to a canal, I know that thing's going to sell very, very quickly. And it will get done. If you look, the average days on market for these are 39. 39 days on market. And they're selling for 98 to 99% of list price. So this right here shows you, as the seller, how you can push the envelope a little bit. Don't go crazy with it. Like we come on at 190. The last sold on there is 185. But one of the things that I always do when I looked at that last sold, that it was almost identical property, it was in May. So it was right around Cinco de Mayo. This is January. So this is 7 months later. You've got to be able to count the appreciation and not just look in a rearview mirror and just look at the past solds, especially in these price points. So as a seller, you can push the envelope a little bit. From 300 to 450 looks like still a seller's market, just not a hyper seller's market. 450 to 500 is the definition of a neutral market. It's a flat 6 months. So that changes things. You can't really push the envelope as a seller. As a buyer, you can open up a few more negotiations. If they're asking $475, you may be able to offer a little bit less. Because as you look, these are selling at 96% of list price. Well, 4% off of 400,000 is what, 16 grand? That's not chump change. Maybe some people it's chump change. Not me. 4% of 500,000 is what, 20 grand? 5 to 550 is 8.8. So that's pretty much almost a hyper buyer's market. It still puts it in yellow, so they put it as a neutral, but it's not. Anything greater than 7 months is considered a buyer's market. Anything greater than 9 months is considered a hyper buyer's market. So we're right on the cusp of being a hyper buyer's market. This is a good number to pay attention to if your property is worth right at 500,000, because 499 is a neutral market. 500 is almost a hyper buyer's market. You got to pay attention to that. Okay, 550 to 600, definitely a hyper buyer's market. There's just not much inventory right now at all. We got 23 properties. And look at this. This is something that was interesting this week. The 5 to 550, you got 19 active. There is 0 under contract. Nothing is pending. So all 19 are just sitting there right now. And that's one of the reasons we've got almost a hyper buyer's market, because the appetite's just not there. But it's funny, the 6 to 650 shows a hyper seller's market. And the reason it shows a hyper seller's market is because there's only 7 properties active with 3 under contract. So with that equation, it would wind up being a hyper seller's market. We just have no inventory there. 650 to 700, again, it shows a neutral market, but we got 9 properties with 2 under contract. So that shows pretty much a neutral market. 700,000 plus in Escambia County. So your ultra luxury is going to be a hyper buyer's market with almost a year's worth of inventory. So like I said, and I've said this every week, when people ask, how's the market? Is it a buyer's market, a seller's market, or a neutral market? It really depends. Because as you can see on this one, I have all 3. So I have got to know what we're talking about in order for me to be able to answer that question. Now let's get over to Santa Rosa County, because if you noticed, and we still have it today, I have been preaching for 2 months now that we have an inventory crisis. We have got to start fixing that, especially as we move into the new year. Because honestly, in our area, it's been my experience, and I've been doing financial services, real estate, mortgages since 1993. So I've been doing it 1 or 2 decades. Coming up on 3 decades. I'm old. I've noticed that properties come on in January. They need to, because our spring buying season here in Florida starts in January. January, I've always seen an uptick of property. And it's been interesting this year because this past week over Christmas, I've seen an uptick already. I had some people come in from out of town that bought a property, and I actually showed them a property Christmas Day. I know I get some slack from that sometimes. They go, "You don't have family life balance." Bull. I actually had quite a bit. I got up that morning, did a 3-mile run, came in, did all my devotions, was able to help put all the Christmas presents out to make sure Santa was good, make everybody's coffee, come out, open all the gifts, still do all the prep work for the cooking, and then there was like a 2-hour lull between the cooking and when people started showing up at the house, not the people that lived here, that were going to eat with us. So during that 2 hours, I showed a house. They actually bought a house Christmas Day. We were going to see it Christmas Eve, but they had an emergency with the family that couldn't get out of Vanderbilt. So we bought it on Christmas Day. Wrote an offer Christmas Day. It got accepted the next day. So I've seen an uptick on that. This week has been great. This past couple days, I've written 3 contracts and took 2 listings, all between Christmas and New Year's. That's normally a slow time for us, and things really bump off into January. But that goes to show you the activity that's happening right now. The buyer activity that's really out there. There's some pent up demand for properties. And as you look at this screen right here and you see anything under $500,000 is a hyper seller market in Santa Rosa County. There are people wanting to buy stuff in Santa Rosa County. There aren't any properties they want to buy right now. They're looking. I've got a lot of people constantly on a list. If something new comes out in Santa Rosa County, Pace, Milton, they get it almost immediately. All right, I'll get off that soapbox. Sorry about that. So under $500,000, we have an inventory crisis. If you're looking at liquidating something next year in that price point, call me. We can push the envelope a little bit. The listing I just took we put it at 190. When they first called me, they said, "I think we can sell it at 182 to 185. And I went, "No, you can sell it probably at 190. So, and they said, "Well, I'm not going to be upset if you get me an extra $5,000. I'm like, "If you want to write the extra $5,000 check to me, I'll take it, but I can get you more money. And Santa Rosa County, under $500,000, I can get you more money. If you look at what you've got as far as forward looking, and I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole nother video. 500 to 550, still a seller's market. 550 to 600, neutral market. 600 to 650, it says 7 months, so it says anything greater than 7 months considered a buyer's market. So I'm going to call this a neutral. So we're going to say 550 to 650 is a neutral market. 650 to 700, we're creeping into the buyer's market now. Just barely, so you can't go real crazy with your offering price. But if you noticed, at 600 to 650, things are selling at 98% of value, or list price. From 650 to 700, they're selling at 95 and 96. So that's something you just need to pay attention to. The ultra luxury in Santa Rosa County is 9.5 months worth of inventory. So it's a hyper buyer's market, and things are selling at 92%. All right, that's the numbers. I hope you've watched this show this year. I hope you can kind of see the pulse on the market. That's why I try and do this show every week, to give you a good pulse on the market so you can see the ups and downs. I just give you data. If you want to use me, great. If not, fantastic. I hope I can help you give that data. That way you know, if you're coming in as a buyer, how strong your buyer is going to have to, how strong your offer is going to have to be. And if you're coming in as a seller, do you need to differentiate? If you're 700,000 plus in Santa Rosa County, you obviously do, because it's a hyper seller or hyper buyer's market. You need to differentiate. You need to make something different. And if it's 100 to 150, where there's only 25 properties in Santa Rosa County, you can push the envelope as a seller a little bit. And a buyer, you need to pay attention, be pre-approved, and ready to go as soon as the property comes on the market. Again, I just give you data so that you can make an informed decision, a better informed decision for you and your family. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you have a great 2020. Let's not do the New Year's resolutions and then break it by the 15th, January 15th. Happy New Year. Thanks for watching.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there, and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth.
On a mission.
Don't you just want the truth?